This meeting is now called to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Person?
Here.
Mr. Prince?
Here.
Mr. Corman?
Here.
Mr. Pavoni?
Here.
Ms. O'Halloran?
Here.
Mr. McIrvin?
Here.
And Ms. Perez?
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all present.
Thanks, Jason. Moving on to the first item on the agenda is a special proclamation.
Hey, proclamation, Don Person Day. Whereas Don Person is retiring from the Renton City Council after 20 years of service. And whereas he previously retired from the Renton Police Department after 33 years of service. And whereas Vicky has decided that 53 years of service is quite enough. And their fifth wheel trailer is not getting any younger. And whereas having grown up in the Renton community, Don's commitment to Renton has been a hallmark of his character. And whereas he has demonstrated that commitment through his service as one of the founders of Renton River Days, and his continued support and service to that event to this day. And whereas Don served for years on the Board of Communities and Schools, provided food and other supplies to Reach's Center of Hope, and orchestrated the annual Senior Center Thanksgiving dinners. And whereas when Don was not actively involved on boards, he was donating his time, money, and his considerable barbecue skills to neighborhood picnics, community events, employee recognition lunches, and more than we can possibly all remember. And whereas his community involvement did not in any way diminish his contributions as an effective city council member, and whereas Don's particular interest and acumen was in and around the city's finances, and his skills of police interrogations showed in his probing questions and ability to flesh out uncertainties and soft spending projections, and city staff knew they better come prepared to his committee meetings. And whereas Don's experience patrolling the streets of Renton while in the police department helped him become a valued member of not only the city's transportation committee, but also on regional transportation committees. And whereas throughout his career on council, Don demonstrated the unique ability to find solutions acceptable to his colleagues while not compromising his own principles. And whereas one key to his success was his ability to bring humor into the room, and if that didn't work, to invite people to lunch or dinner, where he would completely disarm them through his amazing culinary skills. And whereas Don's laugh was unmistakable and infectious, and it will be missed in City Hall. And whereas the community of Renton will forever be a better place because of Don's service to it. Now therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim December 9th, 2019 to be Don Person Day in the City of Renton. And I encourage all members of the community to join me in this special observation. And witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 9th day of December, 2019, signed Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move that the council adopt the proclamation as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Mr. Corman, that this proclamation be adopted as read. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, that passes. Congratulations. I know you're speechless, but would you like to say a few words?
Thank you very much. 53 years with the city has gone really fast. I made so many friends. And I was going to say this later, but I'll say it now. This council and this mayor have been just fantastic. It's been so much fun to work with you. It's been, we've got a lot accomplished. I'm excited about the future. The new council people that are coming in are awesome, as well as the ones that are still going to remain. You know, got to keep the old guys. And I'm very excited about having a new mayor who I know has been in training. The Mayor Law has been on his case, and he'll realize that he didn't have to pay any attention anyway. So I'm a lot of gratitude and thank you to everybody. You guys are all wonderful.
Congratulations, Don.
Now, let's get this meeting over fast.
I also want to just take a quick moment to welcome Valerie O'Halloran, our new city council member, who as you know, Valerie, after she won the election, she ran for a seat that was vacated by Caroline Witchy, and so after the election was certified, she was sworn in, and so she's attending her first meeting tonight. Also want to recognize Kim Convan, who's in the back. You got to raise your hand. She'll be coming in, and she'll be sworn in January. Thank you for being here. Okay, administrative report, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I just have one item this evening to report on. With cold weather and snow season just on the way, the Public Works Department wanted to remind residents about the fact that we do apply de-icer to major arterials. And we, during snow events, it's imperative that motorists do not park or abandon their vehicles within any portion of the traffic lanes on city streets. Abandoned vehicles unfortunately impair snow and ice removal, and they impact the response of emergency vehicles and may be towed if necessary. Please remember that during snow and ice events, the department sanders and snow plows are dispatched to keep those major arterials open so that emergency response can occur to your place of residence if needed. You can visit the city's website at www.rentonwa.gov/snow routes to view the de-icing and snow route maps that occur throughout the city. With that, I conclude my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to audience comments, we have two people signed up to address the council. When I call your name, please come to the podium, give your name and city of residence for the record, and you have 5 minutes. Jason Collins.
All right, so congratulations, Don Pearson. Thanks for spending 53 years here. I'm sorry. One time I came to one of these city meetings on a Tuesday about a year ago, and some guy sat in your spot. I saw him with a guy that was on the news as a sketch once. I've got the cops again. Like, I know that I'm homeless, and you guys really like to put us all in jail and spend $120 a day on us being in jail with SCORE so that the judges can swap money around. So the deal is, can you give me 5 minutes when you wake me up? You don't wake your children up and then stand over top of them and make sure that they get up and go. All right, you don't do that. I mean, like, you could give me at least the most respect that you would your own kid if you were gonna wake your kid up. You know, I'm a guy who don't really want to stand right up all the way, although because of biological issues. All right, so do you mind giving me 5 minutes to get up? The other thing is, all the water fountains are shut off, right? Because they shut off as soon as it's 32 degrees. Well, I'm 80% water, so you think that maybe you could open a cold weather shelter and not forget your civic duty? I understand the police department needs a lot of money because they need to buy fucking drones that have...
Jason, watch your language.
Okay, so they got buy drones that have holograms in front of them so you can hide whatever you want behind them. With the same thing with your cars lately, right? So if you guys are going to be doing that, then that's fine, but can we have a cold weather shelter for the people that are on the streets that are 80% water? When the water fountains are shutting off and we're not spending money on making sure that the people are not catching frostbite, which our insurance companies are going to say that's a pre-existing issue because it has long-term damage, all right? And you can be held responsible for it, much like an issue roll. And you don't give people a jury trial, and you hold them for 45 days and take everything that they own and put them out on the streets on an abandonment law, all right? So thank you for your time. Thanks for your service. Hope you all have a good time.
Thank you. Next is Maria Chavez.
Hi, first time here, and so basically, I bought an RV, and I talked to someone in the city of Renton, and they had told me, or I understood that it was okay to park it in your yard and, you know, live in it if you wanted to. But then later, after I got it, I found out that you're not allowed to live in it. And the technology is like so that living in an RV sometimes is better than living in a house if, you know, it's well equipped. So also, I think, you know, like our homeless friend here, I think a lot of us can help people that are homeless, you know, by doing that, having an RV and being able to put it in the back of our yard and letting someone, you know, live in it while they get back on their feet. So there is composting toilets now that eliminate odor, eliminate everything, and all you have to do is, you know, keep up with it and, you know, throw it outside, bury it or whatnot. So I would like to ask if we can change the law on that and be allowed to live in an RV as long as it's inspected or it passes whatever rules you guys may have. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
Ms. Chavez has sent some emails to the council on the same topic, and I would just like to make sure that she's a party of record if these rules get reviewed again, and I'd also ask if maybe staff could reach out to her to make sure she understands. The rules did just change a little bit. People are allowed to do temporary occupancies and apply for a permit. It's my understanding is not what she's looking for, but I'd just like to make sure she knows what's currently available, and then is that we remember to include her in further conversations.
Yeah, we'll absolutely do that. The other thing is, it's an ongoing issue, and it may be something that in the first of the year, the council wants to revisit, so.
Very
Okay,
good, thanks.
thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, we have 15 items for the council to consider. Are there any items the council member would like pulled for discussion?
Mr. Mayor, seeing none, I move the consent agenda be adopted as read.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Prince, that the consent agenda be adopted as read. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Person.
No unfinished business.
Okay, really?
New business. I got some new business.
Yeah.
We have one Cal report.
Committee report, yeah, I
See,
forgot about that.
that's okay, you know, you haven't been here long enough to understand the process.
My mind is getting out of this place.
All right, Committee of the Whole Committee report. Council policies. The Committee of the Whole recommends revising the council vacancy policy as outlined. It's attached and can be viewed at the city clerk's office. The committee further recommends that the resolution regarding this matter will be presented at the next council meeting. This is signed by the council president.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
I
Person.
move that committee report be adopted as read.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Prince, that this committee of the whole report be adopted as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, Mr. Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Corman.
No unfinished business, Mr.
All
Mayor.
right, Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Finance Committee has, looks like 4 committee reports.
Yeah.
Okay, the first Finance Committee report is regarding payroll vouchers and claims. The Finance Committee approves the following payments: accounts payable, total payment of $6,421,756.02 for a series of vouchers and payroll vouchers and 8 wire transfers, and 2 payroll, total payment of $1,488,132.79 for payroll vouchers, which include 674 direct deposits and 15 checks. This is the November 1st through November 15th, 2019 pay period. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move the council concur with the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Mr. Prince, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And the next report is regarding professional services agreement for the Philip Arnold Park site improvements. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to authorize the mayor and the city clerk to execute the agreement with Hugh Beck and Baird Incorporated in the amount of $392,828.67 for design and construction administration services for site improvements to Philip Arnold Park. The project will be funded from bond proceeds and the Capital Improvement Program Fund. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move the council concur with the finance committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Mr. Prince, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
The next report's regarding compensation of Step D of grade A21. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to authorize staff to compensate Joseph Nerlfy as a construction inspector at Step D of grade A21 effective December 3rd, 2019. This is signed by the committee chair and member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr.
I
Pavoni.
move the council concur with the finance committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Mr. Prince, that council concur with this Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
The final Finance Committee report is regarding the allocation of lodging tax funding for 2020. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve allocations for the 2020 lodging tax fund as recommended by the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee as follows. The Renton Chamber of Commerce, Operation of Visitor Center Operations, $150,000. Renton Community Marketing Campaign, $75,000. The Randall Morris Foundation for Youth Celebrity Golf Tournament, $40,000. City of Maple Valley Ironman 2020, $25,000. The LTAC, which is the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, selected community event sponsorships of $22,500. The DAWA project, Northwest Naturals Expo, $20,000. The Ravishing Women Festival, $20,000. And the Renton Downtown Partnership Downtown Marketing Package, $15,000. The total recommendation is $367,500. The committee further recommends authorization for the mayor and city clerk to execute the contracts with the successful applicants to expend budgeted funds on the proposed additional marketing initiatives. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr.
I
Pavoni.
move that the council concur with the finance committee report.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Mr. Prince, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, moving on to Ms. Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. McGurven.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Transportation Aviation Committee has one committee report.
Okay, this is regarding a supplement to airport leasing policies. The Transportation Aviation Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to adopt the landside leasing supplement to the airport leasing policies. The committee further recommends that the resolution regarding this matter be presented for reading and adoption. This is signed by the committee chair and member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. McGurven.
I move that the council concur with the recommended action of the Transportation Aviation Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. McGurven, second by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Transportation Aviation Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, let's see. Did we get everybody? We did. So moving on to legislation. We have two resolutions and we have 5 ordinances for second and final reading.
Okay, the first resolution is regarding the Valley SWAT team. Resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into addendum number 1 to the interlocal cooperative agreement between Auburn, Federal Way, Kent, Renton, Tukwila, and the Port of Seattle for the creation of the Valley Special Weapons and Tactics Team, admitting the City of Des Moines as a member of the SWAT team.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Corman, that this resolution be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the next resolution is, well, I'll just read it. A resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, adopting the airport landside leasing policy.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr.
I
McGurven.
move that this resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. McGurven, second by Ms. Perez, that this resolution be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the first ordinance for second and final reading is regarding the multifamily property tax exemption. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending 41220D2 of the Renton Municipal Code, modifying project eligibility requirements to qualify for an exemption from property taxation, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Corman, that this ordinance be adopted as read. It requires a roll call.
Mr. Person,
Aye.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Mr. Corman,
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni,
Aye.
Mrs. O'Halloran,
Aye.
Mr. McIrvin,
Aye.
and Ms. Perez.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it.
Okay, the next ordinance is regarding, let's see, impact fee credits. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsection 41190G of the Renton Municipal Code, amending impact fee regulations, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Ms. Perez, that this ordinance be adopted as read and requires a roll call.
Mr. Person,
Aye.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Mr. Corman,
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni,
Aye.
Ms. O'Halloran,
Aye.
Mr. McIrvin,
Aye.
and Ms. Perez.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it.
And the next ordinance is regarding street trees. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, revising regulations related to street trees by amending subsections 4470A, 4470B, 4470D, 4470F2, 4470G2, and 44130H9D, sections 915.1, 915.2, and 915.3, the definition of drip line in section 41140 and chapter 913 of the Renton Municipal Code, adding definitions of arborist city to section 41110 and planting strip to 411160 of the Renton Municipal Code, revising or providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Ms. Perez, that this ordinance be adopted as read. Requires a roll call.
Okay, Mr. Person,
Aye.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Mr. Corman,
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni,
Aye.
Ms. O'Halloran,
Aye.
Mr. McIrvin,
Aye.
and Ms. Perez.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it.
Okay, the next ordinance is regarding vehicle parking in residential zone. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsections 4480G and 49240D1 of the Renton Municipal Code and adding sections 4485 and 49105 to the Renton Municipal Code, regulating vehicle parking on residentially zoned property, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Ms. Perez, that this ordinance be adopted as read, and it also requires a roll call.
Okay, Mr. Person,
Aye.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Mr. Corman,
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni,
Aye.
Ms. O'Halloran,
Aye.
Mr. McIrvin,
Aye.
and Ms. Perez.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it.
Okay, the final ordinance. The final ordinance is regarding accessory dwelling units. Okay, an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending Renton Municipal Code subsections 4260D, 4280A7, 42110A, 42110B, 42110C, 42110D, 42110E, 42110F, 42115B, 43110E5A1, 4480E2A, 4480E2E, and 4480F10D, Chapter 42 and Section 4930, by amending accessory dwelling unit, ADU, development standards, including adding a new section, 42116, regulating ADU design standards, amending parking standards relating to ADUs, adding a new subsection 4930H, regulating ADU decision criteria, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
we worked on this in planning and development all year, and I'm glad that at our last meeting, we were able to do this. So, Mr. Mayor, I move that the ordinance be adopted as read.
Yep.
Second.
You have to reread it.
I wouldn't do that to Jason.
Okay, it's been moved by, it's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Ms. Perez, that this ordinance be adopted as read and requires a roll call.
Mr. Person,
Aye.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Mr. Corman,
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni,
Aye.
Ms.
Aye.
O'Halloran, Mr. McIrvin, sorry.
Aye.
Is that an aye?
Yes.
Yes, sir. And Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you, Jason. Okay, moving on to new business. Mr. Person.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. First, there will be no council meetings on December 16th, 23rd, and the 30th of this year. They are all council holidays. We worked so hard this year.
That is pretty funny.
And the Committee of the Whole for January 6th is canceled. And then I have two items of new business. The first one is Mr. Pavoni has issued a letter of resignation of his position as of January 1st, 2020, so he can become the mayor of this fine city. And I move that the council accept the resignation.
Second.
So it's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Prince, that we allow Armando Pavoni to resign from the council. Any objections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hey, you're out of here.
And that is my last official council president role. We have a council proclamation. Jason?
Okay, proclamation. Dennis Law Day.
I have to check with the city attorney. Is this legal?
Totally legal.
Yeah.
The proclamation, whereas Dennis Law is retiring from service to the city of Renton as its mayor for 12 years and as a city council member for 4 years. And whereas we won't entirely blame the Great Recession on Dennis, but it did begin during his first year as mayor. But regardless of how it started, he successfully guided the city through it with minimal reductions in service to the public, kept Renton's financial condition sound, and worked hard to make Renton the best run, best managed, and best lead city in King County. And whereas from his first days in office, Dennis has championed inclusion and equity, and long before other communities in the region and nation recognized the importance of inclusion, Dennis and the city organized the Mayor's Inclusion Task Force, the Renton African American Pastors Group, and the Latino Community Forum to help ensure that police and other services were delivered in the most effective and respectful way. And whereas his leadership in opening Renton City Hall facilities to create the Reach Center of Hope has resulted in shelter protection, retraining, and transitioning back into productive society for hundreds of vulnerable Renton residents. And whereas Dennis has also worked hard to ensure that Renton had a vibrant business economy, and his impact can be seen in businesses throughout Renton, the new IKEA store, Kaiser Permanente, Providence headquarters, Seahawks headquarters, the Landing, the Southport development, downtown redevelopment, and development in the Highlands. And whereas Dennis developed a very effective working relationship with the Boeing Company, but is still waiting for the delivery of the city's own private Boeing 737.
I know.
Even though there are a few 737s sitting idle at the Renton plant. Whereas Dennis has presided over many city events and was asked back year after year, even though at clam lights he would flip the switch and the lights wouldn't come on. And as and as judge of the quilting competition at Renton River Days, he broke into Renton Community Center, didn't have the right code, and the police had to stand down once they saw it was the Renton mayor. And whereas Dennis truly enjoyed his relationship with the Seattle Seahawks, especially the opportunities where he shared the stage with the Seagulls, but perhaps the best outcome from having the Seahawks in Renton has been the partnership with former Seahawk Doug Baldwin and in the development of the Family First Community Center, which will impact the lives of youth and families in Renton for years to come. And whereas during his 12 years as mayor, Dennis has been a leader in supporting education in Renton by giving both his time and money to Renton Technical College Foundation, Friends of Renton Schools, Community in Schools of Renton, and other efforts, and worked hard to strengthen partnerships with Renton Technical College and Renton School District. And whereas the Renton Police Department and Renton Regional Fire Authority will not have to get by without one of their first responders, since I didn't write this. Since Dennis was usually one of the first to arrive at many incidents.
So there
Responding.
goes our response time.
responding to more crime scenes than a seasoned detective. And whereas Dennis has been well respected and sought after as a leader in the region and has served on many regional boards and commissions, such as Sound Cities Association, Valley Communications Center, SCORE, and other multi-city partnerships, groups that are viable today because of Dennis's leadership at critical times during their administrations. And whereas while Dennis will be giving up his black Tahoe, he has plans to get back to his 6-month rotation of new Corvettes that he enjoyed before his time as mayor. And whereas while his staff have been following the law, and since 2008, here in Renton, and heard his favorite saying many times at staff meetings, said with a smile, you know you're all at will. Dennis will now be following Patty law in Anacortes beginning in 2020. And whereas as the only 3-term mayor in Renton's history, Dennis leaves a legacy and accomplishments that he can truly be proud of, and that the Renton community will benefit from years to come. Now, therefore, we, the Renton City Council, do hereby proclaim December 9th, 2019, to be Dennis Law Day in the city of Renton, and we encourage all members of the community to join us in this special observation. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hand and caused the seal of the city of Renton to be affixed this 9th day of December 2019, signed Don Person, City Council President, City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I
Mr.
move the
Person.
proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person and seconded by, I think, Mr. Corman and Mr. Pavoni, that the proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I think the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's very, very nice.
We're not through.
Oh, geez.
No, I think you're the first mayor to ever receive something this nice from the council. And as funny as it sounds, it really is an honor to present this to you because of everything you've done for the city of Renton. Not only in your 12 years as office as a mayor, but your 4 years as city councilman, and before that, with the Renton Reporter newspapers, you have set a standard in this city that is going to be hard to follow. So I'm glad I'm leaving. and as the public can see, what he's done is united the council and the staff and everybody to make it a fun place to work, but yet still get a lot of good work done. And I know it's going to carry on because you started it, and I'd like to present this to you.
Thank you very much. That's very, very nice. I appreciate that.
With that, I yield the floor.
Thank you, sir. Okay, where did I drop off? Okay, Mr. Prince.
I don't know how I follow that, so I will just say, no new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Corman.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I don't have any committee meetings to announce, but I would like to say that Councilmember McGurven and I attended a very nice meeting that we were hosting right here in Renton, Regional Trails Coalition, that our staff has been involved in to help organize all of the different trails that cut through this region. The meeting, which was hosted in our own community center, had representatives from 4 or 5 different counties, I think, that were here to coordinate the trail effort. And part of the business of this Trails Coalition was to seek additional partners. So they had a commitment form. They were asking for people that were here as representatives to sign up to become partners for this regional coalition, so that by getting the trails organized, we could have a true regional system that everybody recognized, and hopefully with that regional organization seek state and federal grants, and just build out the trail system. Anyway, so Mr. McGurven and I came back with a copy of this sort of pledge form that that they would like everybody to agree to. He's holding it up over here. And so I was just going to suggest, we talked about it, that we put it into community services, that we put it into Community Services Committee to discuss whether we would do anything. We're already sort of involved because our staff have been involved, but we thought we could consider a council proclamation or something to make that more formal. So with that, I would move that the topic of Renton's involvement with the Regional Trails Coalition be put into Community Services Committee.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Corman, second by Mr. Pavoni, that the topic of the regional trail system be put into the Community Services Committee for review. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a few committee meetings to announce. On January 6th at 4:30, the Finance Committee will meet in the council conference room. There's 5 items on the agenda: professional services agreement for Kiwanis Park, professional service agreement for Coulon Park Bridge replacement, professional services agreement for Coulon Park North Waterway, vouchers, and emerging issues in finance. And I'd also like to say, first I'd like to talk about Mr. Person and his experience the last 50 years. I've known Don since I believe, I was 4 or 5. So he worked with my father at the police department. And I grew up as him as a father figure. So it was a challenge in the beginning for us to figure out our relationship. You always see your elders as your elders as long as you go, but we worked our way through it. The one thing I'll say about Don, I think Vicky's probably the only person in the entire world that knows the dedication to this community and the amount of things he does behind the scenes without credit. Constantly visiting places and doing things, and it's always been impressive, and it's really led the way for the rest of us in terms of dedicating our time and services. So I'm really proud to serve on this committee with him. I also want to thank a couple of people. The LTAC committee that I served on earlier, I wish I was remiss to not bring it up. LTAC is a committee that oversees the lodging tax, and there's a group of people that volunteer their time, and it does take quite a bit of time. It's 4 or 5 meetings throughout the year, and they're 5, 6, 7 hours, something like that, and they have to do a little bit of research on the back end to make sure they know what each recipient is looking for. And I just want to thank them for all their commitment and their hard work. And lastly, I want to thank our mayor, Dennis Law. I think that, everybody says, oh, you have big shoes to fill. And I don't know that I see it as shoes to fill. I think it's more an issue of the tone that you've set and the culture that you've created in the city. I've tried to explain that. It's like, how do you make that part of your mission statement? As a business owner, something I noticed very closely is the culture of communities. And there's a business owner out here in our audience that could attest to that. And it really changes the work performance and what it's like to work in that organization. And 6 years when I came on as a council member, it became very obvious very quickly the culture here was very unique for a city and for a government. The fact that you're have been striving for that is amazing, and I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate all of your advice and the fact that you've been helping me along this way, and I look forward to carrying it on. The other thing that I will add is the relationship between the mayor and the council is, it really is vital. It's important to be able to work with this group, and I look forward to it. I think Kim is going to be a great addition to this council, and I really do look forward to working with this group of people. So with that, I want to thank you very much.
That's great. Congratulations. Ms. Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to present the following video.
Video.
This better
that's
not.
right.
Oh, good. We get the last laugh. Hi, I'm Dennis Law. I'm the mayor of the city of Renton, and we're here today to try to capture on video a few things that people recall about Don Person, who retired after 33 years as deputy chief of the Renton Police Department and then served for many years now as a Renton City Council member.
Don, if you're watching this, this means you're retired, and I can say anything I want.
Don, what are you thinking? Retirement? I love it. You deserve it.
Hi, Don. I heard you're retiring. I'm not sure what we're going to do here without you.
Dedicated.
Wise. Genuine.
Leader.
Generous.
Giving.
Compassionate.
Kind.
Outgoing.
Phenomenal.
Enthusiastic.
Go-to guy.
Jovial?
Terrific.
Committed to Renton. Congratulations, my friend. The halls of City Hall will miss your laughter and your smile. Yeah, and I know I still owe you $2 as a smoke.
Don, it's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure and a joy to serve with you, to sit next to you. You really helped to mentor me throughout my time on the council. I will never forget that.
Don, it has been remarkable and wonderful serving with you for 20 years on council.
Don, thank you for your leadership, thank you for your mentorship, and thank you for being my friend.
We just collectively got a little bit less smart as a council because we don't have that history, that knowledge anymore, with you being gone. But we know you're still around, and we want to thank you for, or I want to thank you for all the things that you've done.
So Don, the city will not be the same without you. And even though you're retiring, you're still going to be my neighbor, and we're still going to drag you into stuff. So earned your time in the sun and your retirement, and I hope you enjoy it.
If it wasn't for you and the city of Renton, I don't know what I would have done. I mean, because of you and the city of Renton, I've been able to buy a house, raise a family, provide an education for my daughter. And it was because of you, Don. So thank you so much.
I just want to say congratulations. You so deserve your retirement.
Wish him the best of luck. He deserves this. He's been a good friend and a good person for the city.
Things that you have done for this city and me personally, there's no words that can say how much you mean to me.
Don, I just want to wish you a very happy retirement. And I guess it's your second retirement, so have a very happy retirement. Enjoy every moment.
Same for me, Don. Thank you. Thanks for all the great barbecues and absolutely all of your time has been for our community.
I'd like to thank Don for his mentoring. He taught me a lot, and he made a deliberate effort to do that. And that meant a lot to me.
I just wanted to say thank you for being such an important person in my life and just an inspiration to all of us, and we're so glad that you have been in our lives.
And just know that when you retire, that you're not retiring from us. We'll always be your family.
So I say thank you as a friend, and I know I will stay in touch for many years to come, but keep doing what you're doing and have a great time.
We will always be profoundly grateful for your friendship, and Renton is really going to miss you. But thank goodness you live not too far from us, so we won't miss you. And now that you have some free time on your hands, Mondays at 7 o'clock, we'll be over. Thanks, Don. Bye-bye.
Don, I am so very proud of you. You have spent the last 53 years of your life serving the citizens of Renton. We have had so many wonderful adventures, and I'm looking forward to many, many more.
Well, it's about time Don did something else besides roll him around City Hall. I mean, we've been trying for years to get him out of here, and it's been impossible because he's so connected. And so we'll wish him the best in retirement.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Perez.
I want to say first thanks to Yumana and Julia for helping us to put together this video. There is also a longer version of this video that lasts 1 hour. And, it will be available on the city's website and Channel 21 next week. And now it is my honor to present a couple of gifts to Council Member Don Person as a token of our appreciation for the great job that you have done this year as a President of the Council, and also for your outstanding service for the last 53 years to the City of Renton.
Very nice.
And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
That's it, okay. Mr. McIrvin.
Oh, I get to go next. That's fantastic. I don't have a video or a fancy anything to hand out, so I apologize for that. I do have a committee meeting to announce, so I'm going to do that.
Boring.
At 5:30 p.m. on January 6th, Monday, January 6th, in the Council Conference Room, the Transportation Committee will be meeting, and there's 4 items on the agenda. 1, Airport Master Plan Agreement. 2, Crescent Capital Lease Agreement. 3, RAC Appointment. And 4, Emerging Issues in Transportation. Councilmember Corman already referred the issue into committee that I was going to refer, so I guess that's that. I guess I'll take one quick point of personal privilege, just to kind of put a pin on this one, since frankly, mayor law is kind of the reason I ended up in Renton in kind of a strange sort of way. That's not actually true. Councilmember Prince's wife was the one who got us to move here. But I got to know Renton really, really well back in 2007, managing Mayor Law's campaign at the time. So honestly, I got to intimately learn the streets of Renton as I went to all of the doors, all of them.
All of them.
No, he did a few. He did a few. It's okay. And then as you heard in the proclamation and from multiple speakers before me, he guided the city through challenging times and brought prosperity, and he did that working collectively with the council. So I think those words have been well expressed. That shows what can be accomplished in a city when a council and mayor work together, and you have that sort of leadership. So I just want to say thank you for your service. It's been a privilege to now actually occupy the same council seat you once. I don't mean this physical chair I'm sitting in. These are new chairs. But to sit in council seat 4, which you once originally sat in. So it's been a privilege and an honor to overlap these past 4 years with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate that very much. Okay, let's see, Ms. O'Halloran.
Yes, it may be boring for you guys, but I am absolutely thrilled to announce that the Community Services Committee will be meeting on January the 6th at 5 p.m. in the council conference room. And on the agenda are the River Rock lease extension and emerging issues in community services.
Terrific job.
Nicely done.
So I'm just going to say just a couple of final words. It's hard to describe a job like this, a position like this, and that's what it is. It's a position. It's been wonderful. I have been blessed to work with the best council members over 12 years, and as everybody has said, it makes a big difference. I mean, you can disagree on items, but you don't make it personal, and you when you're dealing through these issues, everybody's got the same goal in mind, and that is to improve the quality of life for the people that we serve. And this has been a great group. And to pick up on what Armando said a few minutes ago, our city staff has just been unbelievable. They are so committed to serving the public, and we get kudos from the public on their performance almost every day. And rarely do we get complaints. And it's kind of unique. I mean, there's a little larger city just to the north of us that I know that's probably not the case. And so we're unique in many ways. But it's been a real honor to be able to have this position in this city. And I'm going to miss the people a lot, miss all of the my colleagues on the council here and staff members tremendously. And, but the city is really healthy right now. And unless Armando screws it up, I think it's gonna be, it'll be good going into the future. No, you got very good people coming on board and a lot of good things. You're gonna hear a lot of very exciting things that'll be announced in the upcoming months of new things coming to the city. And so it's a very exciting time. So thank you very much. Thank you guys on the council. Thank you, staff. And what's the wish of the council?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Pavoni that we adjourn. Any objections to that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.